Hello, welcome, and thank you for listening to my next video. I'm going to talk about the craniosacral therapy and immune response. There's a whole curriculum on that. I can't remember how many classes. I only took the first class, and I thought it was enough for me. So, whatever we like or we are interested in. So, I took the first class, and it's called craniosacral therapy and the immune response. It's detailed anatomy and physiology of the immune system, palpation, mapping, and application of craniosacral therapy to issues caused by inflammation. And that's a big thing because a big part of my suffering was also inflammation from old viruses, inflammation in the gut from heavy metals, things I was allergic to and that I was still eating because I didn't really pay much attention to, even though I was sick when I was 6. I'm going to talk about it at another point because I'm going to make a video on all the funny things I had, but I'm allergic to petroleum, mineral oils, and a lot of foods and food additives, and also cosmetics are made of I have a petroleum component to it, so I had a lot of inflammation. I remember I took this class in 2013. I only remember it because there was a significant thing that changed in my life, which is why I take classes, because there's always something. There's always something to learn. Something can change if you just pay attention. If you can pay attention, go inward and see the pattern. There's always a pattern. Most people were so like out there. I mean, that's how I was when I was in corporate. But eventually when we start listening, that's the importance. Listening not just with the ear, but listening, and also listening with the hands, obviously, but with the body. It's important. So pre-study, Dr. Upledger's book is an amazing book, Cell Talk, Transmitting Mind into DNA. It's a super thick book. It's an interesting book. I have to say, I didn't read everything, but there was one part I read, and it was talking about protein and how our body attacks protein or something. I can't even recite it. There was something with the proteins, and I'm like, ugh. I just got an input of like, I need to stop eating protein because it never makes me feel good. So I'm driving to, I don't know, probably Orange County or something for the class. And I'm sitting in the class, first day in the morning. I was still sitting by myself at the table. I already back then, I haven't even been a student of human design or practicing human design, but I was kind of like, more like I would go to a class. I would not be looking around like, oh, where could I sit? I would just sit down, somewhere in the back preferably, because I can see better. And then I will have that excitement of like, well, let's just see who's going to end up sitting with me, because that usually you trade a lot, the hands-on. Doesn't mean you can still switch to the room, but just sitting there, and in comes someone who was late, and it was a male therapist. I can't remember his name, but it was very interesting. He sat down next to me, and I looked at him, and I got startled because he looked like my cousins back in Germany. I'm like, what the heck? Why does he look like my family? That was so weird. He literally looked like cousins, my uncles on my father's side. I'm like, oh. So then we started talking. I think he also had some German within him. But anyway, so then we started talking, and during lunch break, he's like, hey, you want to go out? I can take you to lunch. I'm going to this vegan restaurant. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, I always wanted to try vegan. Because I had already, a couple of days before, read in the book, I'm like, I probably need to stop eating meat. I don't know, that's not the right thing for me. I'm not saying people need to stop eating meat. I'm just talking about myself. So, I went to this vegan restaurant, and I liked the food. And if anything I got out of this class, it's like, I stopped eating meat. I haven't eaten meat since 2013. I am not vegan. Every now and then I become a little bit pescatarian, but that's also like every now and then I eat a piece of fish. But more like vegetarian because I have my half and half in my coffee. I tried kind of like alternative nut creamers. They make me sick. They make my immune system like, oh, it's not a healthy thing. But that's what I got from this class. And I think in our treatments, it was interesting to observe some other people, especially the demos. I always like the demos. That's why I like assisting classes. The upper level class, I just really never have the time, but I love the demos when the instructor does a demo, because there's like people who have trauma or like an event that happened to them that you would never make the connection. It's connected to your immune response, like your response to that, and it makes you sick. It's just amazing. I just love this work. It's just great. So for me, it was just my appendectomy. My appendix surgery came up, which was pretty traumatic back then when I was 12 years old. I need to make that a whole video on its own. I'm gonna have a whole series eventually once I'm through the whole manual and metaphysical training, where I'm going to talk about some of the things that happened to me, and I'm also going to talk about client issues, but that's down the road. So that was CSIR, craniosacral therapy, immune response. Great class, and on to the next one.